Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I am Alison. I write as Alison May, 50% of Juliet Bell, and most recently as Ali Sinclair. And here on YouTube I talk about writing, publishing and all things related. If that sounds like the sort of thing you are interested in, then please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all of that stuff. Subscriber numbers make a huge difference to YouTubers, so please do subscribe if this is the sort of thing you're interested in. But with no further delay, let's get into the video. So, as I am filming this, it is the 19th of October 2023. It'll be coming out tomorrow, the 20th. And so that means that we are about 10 days, just less than a fortnight away from the start of NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo started life as National Novel Writing Month. Now probably should be called NaNoWriMo because it's very much international rather than national. And the idea is that during November you write the first draft, or more accurately for most novels, probably the first 2/3 of a draft of a novel. So 50,000 words is the target during November. And if you work that out over the days in the month, it works out as about 1650, 1700 words per day to hit that target. And lots of people participate in this. Lots of people participate and write a lot more than 50,000 words. Lots of people participate and never make that 50,000 word goal, but write something during that month that they may not have written otherwise. And that ranges from unpublished authors to big multi-published names, and sort of all points in between. It can be people writing for the very first time. It can be people writing their 30th novel. So NaNoWriMo is a fairly big deal in writing circles, and I've participated in it I think 3 times, and I'm planning to participate in it this year. Full disclosure, I have never finished Nano. I've never hit 50,000 words during November, which is super weird because I've written 50,000 words in a month, or significantly less than a month, plenty of times, but never during Nano when I've sort of officially set out to do that. So that probably tells you something about how my brain rebels against rules and structure. But I will be having a go at Nano this year. Again, I'm not sure I necessarily expect to write 50,000 words. We'll see how it goes. So I am kind of Nano agnostic. I quite often have a go at it. I don't generally stress too much about not hitting the target, but I do in other contexts tend to write quite fast. So the idea of writing 50,000 words in a month isn't particularly kind of alien or worrying to me. So why am I Nano agnostic? Well, that's what we're going to delve into, and I'm going to give you my top 3 reasons not to do NaNoWriMo. There will be loads of videos on YouTube, and there are loads of videos on YouTube about preparing for Nano, how to pace yourself through Nano, tactics for if you get stuck, all of that sort of stuff. I think I've got a video from November last year about how to unstick yourself if you got stuck, and I will link to that somewhere around in the description or wherever to this video. There are loads of videos around during October, which people call Preptober, because you're preparing for Nano. I mean, it's not Preptober, doesn't quite work. It's not like Movember or something. Anyway, yeah, hey ho. There are loads of videos about preparing for Nano, but I'm going the other way. I'm saying why you shouldn't do Nano. So, number 1, you might not be at the right stage of the novel that you're working on. So, the idea of Nano is that you are bashing out a first draft fairly quickly, 50,000 words in a month. You're just getting the words down. And you might not be at the right stage to that because you are editing a manuscript at the moment. You might not be at the right stage of that because you might have already written 50,000 words and only be planning to write another 30. So there's no way you're going to bash out 50,000 words of manuscript in this month. Those are kind of fairly instinctive, and we understand that, you know, trying to write 50,000 words in a month probably isn't going to be particularly helpful if you're at one of those stages. But you might find that actually trying to write 50,000 words in a month isn't particularly helpful if you're right at the very beginning. So this is where I am at the moment. I'm about to start on a brand new book. Hopefully will then turn into the brand new first book in a brand new series. So I'm right at the very beginning with the very blank page. And that might seem like a really obvious and brilliant time to do Nano, because that's the time when you just want to get the story down. But that's kind of the reason that I'm not expecting to hit 50k during Nano this year, because what generally happens to me is that I spend maybe about 20,000 words sort of writing my way into an idea, then work out that I've started in completely the wrong place, identify where I should have started, go back to the beginning and start again, possibly reusing some of those 20,000 words in a different order, heavily rewritten. So I'm unlikely to end November with a single manuscript to which I have added 50,000 words. I think it's quite likely that I will have two separate manuscripts that have 25,000 words in each, but some of those words in the second version might have started life in the first version, so probably haven't written 50,000 entirely fresh words. Similarly, some people, when they're just starting out, write slower. I tend to do this as well. I tend to write much slower at the beginnings of a story than I do at the end. So if I was writing a 100,000 word manuscript, I would probably expect to take about 3 times as long to write the first 50k as I would to write the second 50k, maybe more than that. I think my sort of speed record, if you like, is 22k in 2 days. And that was the last 22k of a book where I knew exactly where I was going and I could literally just sit and type it because I knew every scene that needed to be in there, everything that needed to be happen, and my brain could just go tick, 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 next this happens, next this happens, next this happens. You need to hit this beat, you need to hit this character point, go, go, go. Because I knew exactly where that story was going at that point. Because I'm not a big planner at the start, I don't know that. I don't really know the characters. I'm not fully au fait with the setting. I'm still working it out. And that means I write slower. So, kind of counterintuitively, if you're right at the very, very beginning with the blank page, you might find that for you, Nano, the approach of just sitting down and just writing and not going back and revising and just getting fresh words down, actually isn't the best approach. Reason number 2, you might find that you write better when you write slower. And that's okay. You might be a writer who, if there's something not quite right in what you've already written, needs to go back and correct that and fix it and shore it up before you feel comfortable moving forward. And that's okay. That's a perfectly legitimate approach. It's not generally the approach I take, but lots of very successful writers do write that way. And the Nano mindset is very much, don't go back and correct, just keep moving forward, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. That works for a lot of people. And if you are someone who, you know, you tend to procrastinate and you tend to overthink and you tend to go back and fiddle with stuff beyond the point where it is helpful, you might find that that Nano approach of just keep going, just keep moving forward is really, really helpful. But actually, for some people, going slower, getting it right, planning a bit more, thinking about what you're going to write next, looking back over what you've already written, ultimately is more productive because it gets them to a finished draft more quickly. So it may just be that Nano isn't for you for that reason. And that doesn't make you a worse writer, a less productive writer. It doesn't actually even make you a slower writer, because ultimately probably means you're going to spend less time editing at the end of writing the draft. So the total time it takes to produce a polished draft could well be about the same. So if that's you, it might just be that Nano's not your bag, and that's okay. And here's my third reason not to do Nano, and it's simply this: you just don't wanna. And that sounds so obvious to say and barely like it deserves a number. But I think there is a thing in the writing community that certain things become so much a part of being part of the writing community that you feel like if you're not doing them, you're not a proper writer, or you're not a part of the writing community online, in your local writers group, wherever you might find that community. But ultimately, if you write, you are a writer, and if you want to feel part of that writing community, you are absolutely invited to. It is an open table. You don't have to participate in things just because lots of your writer friends are doing it, or you see lots of people talking about it online. If you look at it and you think, I just don't fancy that. Or you just think, I don't fancy that this year. I'm quite tired. I need a little break. I want to keep working on what I'm doing slowly. Maybe you're working on something different. Maybe you're working on some poetry and you really want to work line by line, getting into the detail, working at a slower pace. That's absolutely fine. You are absolutely still welcome at the writing community table, at least at my end of the table. I don't know what's going on over there, but the writing community is big and expansive and varied. And you don't have to do things just because you see lots of other writers doing them, whether that's online or in person. So if you look at Nano and think, I just don't fancy that, that's absolutely fine. So those are my 3 thoughts about why you maybe shouldn't do Nano. Having said all that, I am going to be giving it a whirl this year. I'm not going to be stressing about whether I hit 50k or not. I'm just going to use it as a little bit of a kind of peer pressure chivvy to get me going on the new book and the new idea. Couple of other updates. First, you will have noticed that videos on this channel have got a little fewer and further between. At least you'll notice that if you watch regularly. I'm really sorry about that. I've had some health problems over the summer. I've been away a lot. My work schedule is insane, both with writing and with tutoring and mentoring and editing at the moment. So I'm dropping down, for the time being at least, to a video once a fortnight, so one video every 2 weeks. I just think that's going to be a bit more manageable and a bit more sustainable, so apologies for the longer gap, but there will be a video every fortnight. That means that my next video will be in early November, and I will be able to give you a little update then on how Nano is going. If you're planning to do NaNoWriMo this year, let me know down in the comments. If you've tried it before and it worked or didn't work for you, again, let me know, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time for more thoughts writing and publishing related. Farewell!